man, look, this is when the villain tried to warn you by glass. This is glass, right? Yeah, by glass. Let's get it.
Every villain's speech is nonsense. Sometimes they make more sense than you realize. Here are 8 times the villain tried to warn you. Starting with Miguel O'Hara from Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
There's a world out there with no Spider-Man to protect them because it bit you instead. No. You're not supposed to be Spider-Man!
Right off the bat, Miguel gives major bully vibes, but Miguel isn't mad for the sake of it, with his meltdown based on a specific canon event.
A police captain close to Spider-Man dies, saving a kid from falling rubble during a battle with an arch-nemesis.
Which basically translates to, Miles, you need to let your dad die because the canon said so.
That's such a bullshit. That's a bullshit cop-out, though. Because everybody needs a canon event. Why? Why do we all need canon events, bro? This bullshit.
So we're just supposed to let people die because some algorithm says that that's supposed to happen?
Duh.
At this stage, Miguel seems less like a protector and more like someone who desperately needs a therapist. But this impression changes when we find out why he's so obsessed with the canon. Miguel once broke the canon himself when he stepped into another version of his life in a different universe. He wanted a family and happiness so bad that he decided to stay there. But that led to the erasure of that entire universe, including his daughter. So his warnings come from a place of trauma and grief, and the film eventually proves him right.
There's no Spider-Man here.
Towards the end of the film, Miles discovers that he truly is an anomaly. When a spider from another universe bit him, it left that world without Spider-Man. As a result, there's anarchy everywhere and no one around to fix it. Therefore, Miguel wasn't just making things up. In his own twisted way, he was trying to do what he believed was the
low-key Miguel started the whole thing anyway. If he had stayed in his dimensions, none of this would happen. Very true. Very true.
right thing. But Pitch Black from Rise of the Guardians had no good intentions from the start.
I'd say sweet dreams, but there aren't any left.
I still gotta watch this.
Pitch is literally every child's worst nightmare come to life. He's the personification of fear, which gives him a unique strength. He knows he can't defeat the Guardians in a direct fight, so instead of fighting them physically, Pitch attacks the operating system they all run on.
They don't believe in me anymore.
Belief is the Guardians' greatest strength, but Pitch realizes it's also their biggest weakness. So when the Guardians try to recruit Jack Frost, he warns him.
If enough kids stop believing, everything your friends protect, wonder, hopes, and dreams, it all goes away.
And that's exactly what happens. Pitch Black steals the Tooth Fairies so they can't collect teeth, and even sends his nightmares to ruin Easter.
Damn.
In doing so, he stops kids from having faith in the Guardians and all that they represent about hope and wonder. Therefore, Pitch targets the Guardians' source of power without ever getting into a physical brawl. But this strategy only works for so long, because ironically, the exact rule he explains to Jack also applies to him.
I am the Boogeyman, and you will fear me!
Oh shit, got your
This
ass.
leads to one of the most poetic reversals in the whole film.
But I feel like if you gotta believe in the good, you gotta believe in the bad too. You know what I'm saying? Fear is a very real thing. You can't just take that away. I know it's a part of the movie and he's the bad guy, so you got to. But it's really a thing that you also have to believe in. You know what I'm saying? Just like you believe in the good, you gotta believe in the bad. You feel me?
His own creations begin feeding on his fear of being forgotten, making the boogeyman the ultimate victim. Throughout the film, Pitch Black
No one really believes in a boogeyman. That's cap. The boogeyman is always that the monster under my bed, the monster in my closet. That's the boogeyman essentially. So like kids still believe in it. Just like kids stop believing in Santa Claus and kids stop believing in the Easter Bunny and the Tooth Fairy, they stop believing in monsters. You know what I'm saying? Nah, that's Monsters, Inc. What? Okay. All right.
To everyone, that belief can fade overnight. Meanwhile, Lotso from Toy Story 3 felt the same way about affection.
Prisoners disabled, Commander Lotso.
Within seconds, his strawberry smell turns into the scent of dictatorship. This shift in his nature isn't random, though. It all goes back to his past where he once belonged to a little girl named
we remember
Daisy.
this.
The two were inseparable until she accidentally left him behind during a trip. Lotso fought long and hard to return to Daisy, expecting a joy-filled reunion.
Would I rather see Mike Wazowski or Randall? Mike Wazowski, my nigga.
But by then, it was too late.
Nah, this is a
And
nasty
instead of
edit.
processing his heartbreak like a reasonable plushie, he
I mean, he didn't process his shit right, but he wasn't necessarily wrong. And toys, they're gonna replace you. They will. You know what I'm saying? They will replace you. You will get replaced, my nigga.
decides to enforce his new philosophy on other toys at Sunnyside.
We're all just trash, waiting to be thrown away.
No. He's got a point.
Most of us end up donating, abandoning, or packing away our childhood toys. In the film, even Andy plans on storing the toys in the attic. So Lotso's warnings don't just come from a place of paranoia. There's actual truth to them. But what Lotso doesn't understand is that there's a fine line between grief and cruelty.
Where's your kid now, Sheriff? No.
He a bitch, I ain't gonna lie.
And to think, he betrays the toys again right after they help him. Unbelievable. At one point, Lotso may have been soft and sweet, but over time, he becomes a brutal villain with no redeeming qualities, much like Syndrome from The Incredibles.
You sly dog! You got me monologuing! I can't believe it.
You sure? Think about it though. It's an eyeball with an arms and legs. Randall, at least you can make him. You can mistake him with a gator. Mike has nothing in common with anything. Like, would I know which character each is? Like, if they coming in, I know it's Mike, or if they coming in, I know it's Randall, or it's just a random ass. You know what I'm saying?
This clip alone tells you everything about Syndrome. He's theatrical and completely ruthless, especially when it comes to Mr. Incredible. But before becoming Syndrome, he was just Buddy, a kid genius who created rocket boots and dreamed of being a superhero himself.
Fly home, buddy. I work alone.
Hurt by the rejection, Syndrome hatches a plan to get revenge, even committing superhero genocide in the process. And along the way, he ends up saying his most iconic line.
And when everyone's super, no one will be.
Now, it's important to clarify that this line doesn't condone all the evil Syndrome has done. He doesn't do what—
True though. Like, if everybody had superpowers, you wouldn't be that important. And like, he's tweaking, but I also I understand why he's tweaking. You don't need to take it to that degree. But I also understand. I looked up to you. I made this. You know what I'm saying? I want to be just like you. You tell me, yeah, go home, little nigga. You think you better than me. Because you got them powers, you think you better than me. All right, well, I'm going to make everybody super. I'm gonna make myself rich by selling the shit that, you know what I'm saying? Now everybody can have powers. Now it's not just you. Now you're not special no more. You know what I'm saying? So I see, but he didn't have to kill supers in the process. You know what I'm saying?
He does for a noble cause, but rather it's out of pure spite and villainy. But his warning about superheroes being an elite group rings true. They possess abilities that make them stronger and more influential than the average human. Clearly, there's an imbalance in the system, and Syndrome sees that. He wants to sell his superhero gadgets to the masses to even the playing field.
And that's all you had to do. You didn't have to kill niggas for that. You didn't have to kill niggas for that.
However, any good in Syndrome's beliefs goes down the drain the minute he justifies murder for it. And the irony is that Syndrome bashes superhero worship, but desperately craves it for himself. So, the universe decides to humble him immediately. How satisfying to watch him be whacked around by his own invention. Syndrome's petty nature and ego, therefore, prove to be his downfall. Unlike Chef Skinner from Ratatouille, whose downfall comes in the form of a rat.
One can get too familiar with vegetables, you know?
Vegetables?
I'm pretty sure that joke flew over most of our heads as children. Skinner is the interim head of Gusteau's restaurant. His vision is to exploit the late chef's legacy and mass-produce frozen
Gusteau's burrito. Ew.
food for profit. In the film, he gets to inherit the late Auguste Cousteau's empire, but only if no surprise heirs appear to ruin his day. Not only does this scrawny-looking guy cook dishes that revive the restaurant's reputation, but he also happens to be Cousteau's biological son. Linguini's life turns upside down as he goes from garbage boy to chef to owner of Cousteau's in a matter of weeks. Meanwhile, Skinner goes from temporary king to unemployed because of one head.
That nigga was tweaking.
Line. But here is where the plot thickens. Linguini isn't actually the one.
Nah, Skinner was valid. Cause like, my nigga, you really couldn't cook. Like, you wasn't. I was running this shit. You were a busboy. You know what I'm saying? And like, you got a rat cooking under your hat. Like, you not even chefing it up like that.
One cooking. The real genius behind the stove is Remy, a literal rat pulling human hair like a puppeteer. And for some reason, Linguini never thinks to question this dynamic. Skinner, however, actually has a rational response to seeing Remy.
Do you know what would happen to us if anyone knew we had a rat in our kitchen? They'd close us down.
Precisely! In any real-world restaurant, a rat in the kitchen is a health code violation, not a charming underdog story. Skinner warns his staff that if the truth about a rat comes out, the restaurant is finished, which is exactly what happens in the end. But who knew Skinner would have a hand in making that happen?
I wish to report a rat infestation.
I wish to report
For all his greed and pettiness, he wasn't wrong about the risk of having a rat in the restaurant. But while Chef Skinner wanted to eliminate rats from his kitchen, Evelyn Deavor from Incredibles 2 wanted superheroes banned from existence.
Superheroes keep us weak.
Now, Evelyn might not be the best villain out there, but I blame that on poor writing and execution. Her twist reveal is about as subtle as naming your villain Evil Endeavor and hoping nobody notices. But if you ignore that and actually listen to what she says, her motive is pretty solid.
You want superheroes to protect you and make yourselves ever more powerless in the process.
Disguised as the screenslaver, Evelyn argues that the more society relies on superheroes to solve every crisis, the less capable ordinary people become. In this case, she's talking about situations that don't necessarily need superhero intervention. And her backstory is the perfect example.
That's very valid, actually.
Pointlessly, stupidly, waiting for heroes to save the day.
When robbers broke into her house, her father could have used the safe room like the rest of the family, but instead, he tried to contact superheroes as if dialing a hotline was safer than acting immediately. This mistake became his undoing.
Damn.
However, the way she executes her plans is where everything goes south. Instead of helping her brother legalize superheroes just to make them illegal again, she could have just tried to foil his plans on the inside from the start. In the end, she was just stubborn about her way being the only right way.
The fact that you saved me doesn't make you right.
Evelyn would rather fall to her death than be rescued by a superhero. Talk about ungrateful. For most of the film, Evelyn Deavor was perfectly content working on her master plan from the shadows, much like Stinky Pete from Toy Story 2.
Look, I'm doing the box step.
I remember
Like
this
Lotso,
nigga.
this
Holy
toy
shit.
seems
I haven't watched
harmless
Toy Story 2 in a
With
minute.
his grandfather-like nature, he offers advice and leads the group in making decisions. But Stinky Pete only plays nice when things go his way. The minute Woody decides he would rather return to Andy than live forever in a museum, Pete shows his true colors.
I tried reasoning with you, Woody. But
That
you
nigga was
keep forcing
crazy.
me to take extreme measures.
Stinky Pete turns out to be a bully with no regard for anyone but himself. But there's a reason for his bitterness.
I'll tell you what's not fair. Spending a lifetime on a dime store shelf watching every other toy be sold.
I missed the part where that's my problem.
At his core, Pete is vindictive because of a lifetime of solitude. Unlike other toys, he never knew the joy of feeling loved and appreciated.
Being bought.
After a lifetime of being alone, Stinky Pete doesn't want a child to play with him. He would rather be displayed in a museum as part of a prestigious toy collection. All he wants is to be admired, which is something he never got to experience his whole life. From his perspective, Woody is being reckless, since choosing a child means choosing eventual loss.
Idiots! Children destroy toys!
The behind-the-scenes video of him talking to the Barbies always gets me.
Eternity rotting in some landfill.
I think I've seen that shit.
The sequel validates everything he said.
Yep.
So although he was a bitter old coot and a
he
master
wasn't wrong. Literally, he wasn't wrong. Because they literally got rid of him in the next fucking movie.
Stinky Pete was right about many things, but his warnings pale in comparison to those from the Ultimate Force.
Oh, fucking death, man.
The inevitable
that nigga is
being
crazy.
shows up with no warning and begins to fight Puss in Boots. You can literally see the confidence leak out of Puss like air from a punctured balloon. For the first time in 8 lives, he feels real, chilling fear. At first, Puss just thinks he's fighting against an extremely skilled bounty hunter. Until Death reveals who he truly is
that
with a
is
warning.
fire.
I'm Death, straight up. And I've come for you, Puss in Boots.
From this moment on, the villain follows Puss wherever he goes. Being on his last life, Puss finally understands that he isn't invincible.
Yep.
So he panics and sets out to find the wishing star to get back the lives he so frivolously wasted away.
What movie is this? It's the Puss in Boots movie. That's his own solo movie.
Doesn't make empty threats. Everywhere Puss goes, Death appears as a reminder of his imminent doom. This eventually leads to Puss having a panic attack from the fear of losing his one last life. Somewhere along the way, though, our feline hero changes. With the help of his friends, he realizes one life can still be meaningful when lived right. So the next time Death comes for Puss, he stops running.
I know I can never defeat you, Lobo, but I will never stop fighting for this life.
The moment Puss stops treating life like it's disposable, Death decides to let him go. It isn't just a warning to Puss, but also to the audience. Death is coming, straight up.
And you can't stop that motherfucker, bruh.
And the only real choice is what we do with the lives we have before the whistle starts, making this one of the most impactful warnings from a villain.
That was good. Yeah, literally, Death only wanted him because he thought he was greater than Death. He thought, you know what I'm saying? Nigga thought he was invincible. You're mortal, nigga. You can die. You can die. W video, though. Shout out to Glass, man.